Hello and welcome to Find Your Freedom, a podcast dedicated to helping you truly find freedom in all aspects of life. Join your hosts and their expert guests as they share practical tips and strategies for finding more freedom in your life. It's time to take control of your life and create the future you want. Let's find your freedom. Here are your hosts, Lenny the Boss and Omid Rad Investor.
All right, boom, 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 boom. We are back with another episode of Find Your Freedom. And today's episode is going to be amazing. But before we get into this special edition episode I'm going to talk about in a few, you know that we have a special gift for you. We want you to find your freedom. So we put together a freedom kit. It's absolutely free. It's easily downloadable. All you have to do is go to www.findyourfreedom.com/freedom kit. That's right. www.findyourfreedom.com/freedom kit. Now, before we jump into, our next guest, right, which is got a healthcare background, healthcare professional, and we're going to get into all the things that she's into and how she's using real estate to drive some crazy things, and the stories is going to be super awesome. Can't wait. We have a special edition episode, so let me knock on the table. Boom, 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 boom. This is called the Tequila Edition, right? All right, now, what that means is that we're going to be taking shots, all right, on this episode. We're going to start off in 1 minute by taking the shot. Now, how it's going to work is we're going to take his first shot, initial shot, all three of us. And then there are three words that if we say, all three of us have to take a shot, okay? And the words are going to be real estate, mindset, and healthcare, all right? Now, before that, I guess for all the individuals that are watching, and then for all the people that are listening, I'm going to start off to say I have two tequilas with me right now. Hopefully we can get sponsored by one of them. I have some 1800 coconut tequila here. And I also got what we consider the Diddy juice, which is the Delion tequila, right? So, all right, Omid, what you
Diddy
got?
juice?
The Diddy juice.
I got the Coramino, so this is like Kevin Hart's. So I like to take shots of this, whether it's at conferences, at home, at parties. I'm ready to go. I always have a bottle. I'm stocked. You can have it chilled, or everybody likes theirs chilled, but you can even have it non-chilled, and it's pretty smooth. So that's my drinking choice. Sorry, Diddy.
All right.
All right, so I got one that probably a lot of people might not have heard of, but it's called La Gotana, and it's from Jalisco, Mexico, and it is a female one, and it is very, very delicious. So you can have it neat, you can have it on the rocks. You don't need the lime and the salt. It is very good.
All right, so let's get this thing rolling. Now, me personally, we're gonna start off with a shot here. I like my shots chilled. So for those that's not watching, I don't know about what you guys have, but I got my mixer here with some ice in it. You probably can hear it, right? And I'm gonna put a shot of all right, you pick for me, guys. I'm going to coconut or Diddy juice.
If that's coconut, it's not real tequila, so you gotta do that Diddy juice.
All right, cool. We're going to do the Delion here.
Yes.
All right. Which I really like this bottle, just to let you know, because it's really easily,
nice.
You can hold it. I like the top to it, right? Kind of got like a really fancy look there. It smells together, right? All right. Wait. All right. So y'all guys taking it straight? Y'all chilling your stuff? Like, what are you doing?
For the first one, I'll take just a straight shot.
Same here. I'm a shot guy, so I need a shot.
This is me doing my mixing edition for those that's listening.
For the first one, but all of us, I'll do this one for the first.
Yes, there you go.
That's special. And well, let me tell everybody, listen, if you want to sit here and participate with us, you're more than welcome to participate with us. However, you have to drink responsibly, okay? We have to drink responsibly. And to drink responsibly, we are telling you, you should not be driving. You should not be operating any type of machinery. You shouldn't be working on a job. So we are not responsible for anything that happens if you happen to take some tequila shots with us today. So we just want to make sure that we're 100% there. Us, we're safe. We all are home, in our respectable offices, and we're going to sit here and drink responsibly.
So Lenny, who came up with this idea, tequila edition? Like, where did this even come from?
Okay, you know what? That's a fantastic question. Well, Omid, we like to educate ourselves, right? And by educating ourselves, we were all down at a conference in Orlando, right? And we're there, and we were at a mixer, right? And at the mixer, they was actually giving out shots, and that's how we met Alex, right? We met Alex, and so we all took the shot, and then afterwards, we're like, Alex, we got to have you on the show. You're amazing. Your story is inspirational. You should sit here and come on our show. She said, only under one condition, if we have a tequila podcast edition where we all take shots of tequila. This is our very first tequila edition podcast sponsored by Alex herself. Out of there. So, all right, guys. So, ladies, you got your shots? You want to hold our shots up here?
Yeah.
All right. So everybody got these shots.
Night out Vegas shot glass. I don't know if that's like the appropriate one, but that's what I got.
All right, Alex, what kind of shot glass you got going on here?
This one's from Cuba. I try to get a shot glass before I go. Yeah.
It's interesting. This is from Pensacola, and I'm the same way. So when I go to the airport, I like to sit there and buy a shot glass. So I was actually down looking at real estate when I bought this. But all right, cool. So on 3, we're gonna take this shot. All right. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Thumbs up.
Cheers.
Oh yeah. Wow, that's the way you kick off the show here.
Yeah. It'll be a matter of
Now that the first shot is in us, all right, now, audience, you have to keep us honest. Remember, if we say real estate, if we say mindset, if we say healthcare, then that means that all 3 of us will have to take another shot. All right, so let's start the episode here of the very first tequila brand episode. All right, with the great Alex. So, Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, guys, for having me. This will be so fun. I'm excited, especially to be the first one on the tequila edition, which I hope there's many more. But a little bit about me. I am a dentist by day and a real estate investor by night, as you can, I guess you can say. I've been in dentistry for about 6 years. I like to focus on general cosmetic dentistry. But a couple of years ago, I kind of fell into real estate. And I'm sure like a lot of other people, it was actually during COVID. And, there was a lot of things going on that year for everyone. I actually stopped working for 3 months, and I didn't realize that could happen to my profession. And it kind of scared me. So I started reading a lot of things, and obviously real estate just keeps coming up. And so that is kind of the path that I took to start investing.
Wow. So 3 months. 3 months is a long time. And that's a scary thing, because I imagine in your industry, there's a large overhead with everything involved. And so it's been 3 months. Let's say COVID happens. So what's going through your mind at that point? And do you ever question, are you in the right industry, and or should you look for, or like, I guess real estate is often discussed, but I guess what led you to then purchase your first property, being in that position?
Well, before you answer that question, ding, 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 real estate, words, shots.
Oh my God. I'm going to be terrible at this.
I'm going 1800 this go around, gang.
Oh man.
It's going to be a long show.
All right. I'm going to keep it the same.
All right.
I'm gonna do a half
Yeah.
one because I feel like I'm gonna have a bunch of hats.
Yeah, bunch of baby ones. Yeah, I can't wait to see what the
Right.
Hold on. Let me-
out at the end.
All right, viewers and listeners, man, this is the rough one. All right, we're taking this is shot number 2. Maybe I should keep a tab on how many shots we take. This is shot
Right.
number 2.
There we go.
All right, bottoms up here.
That didn't go very far. Yeah.
All right, proceed.
So back to the question. Can you repeat the question without saying that word again? Just don't.
No, for sure. So, yeah. I guess
You can actually
there's a lot of uncertainty during that time. So there's nobody's working, and then on top of that, there's an expense associated to real estate. So
You're cool.
But yeah, so I can use it. Okay. So what made you? Well, I guess what hurdles did you have to overcome to actually jump in?
Okay. Yeah. So I was actually reading about investing in general a couple months before. So maybe let's say December, January of 2019, 2020. I started reading on it, but it wasn't like I was super serious. It was more like, oh, like what avenues can I take? What can I do? And then March hit and, it was emergencies only. I worked with other dentists. And so they kind of took that on. And so, that just left me not working for a couple months. And that's when I was like, a light switch was just like, you actually have to do something now because you're not making the same income you were. You have all these bills. You have your student loans. You still need to make a living somehow. And during the time that I was reading, every time something came up with passive investing or investing in general, real estate kept coming up and kept coming up and kept coming up. And so that's kind of why I started heavily looking into it. And I actually dedicated those 3 months to learning as much as I could. So every single day I would listen to podcasts. I would buy as many books as I could. And I would analyze deals. I was like in school again. That's what I felt like. And the more I had like a dedicated time for each thing throughout the day, like while I was cooking or doing laundry, I would be listening to the podcasts. Like a couple hours out of the day, I would be reading a book. And then like 2 hours out of the day, I would dedicate to analyzing deals. Just because I was really heavily focused on how can I make a difference. So when I do go back to work, I'm kind of setting myself up for success in that.
That's great. That's fantastic. So let me ask you a question. So you mentioned some good things here, right? You mentioned, hey, you're home and you're going to take advantage of this time. You're going to invest in yourself, right? You want to sit here and listen to podcasts. You bought every book that you could, and you went out and start analyzing deals, which is excellent. Why? You didn't jump into long-term rentals or, commercial world is big these days on, individuals, want the 50 units and the 30 units and the 100 units. I guess why was the choice to jump into short-term rentals?
Well, actually, our first one was a long-term rental. So our first one was a long-term rental, and I was, there was a lot of risk involved with not knowing anything. I was learning by myself. I was learning through Zoom calls, these webinars and stuff. But I truthfully didn't really have a community around me that invested, how I wanted to invest, how I was envisioning myself. And so I wanted to learn the baby steps. And so, when you start reading these books, they talk a lot about long-term, there's a lot of books on long-term rentals. And so that's where I wanted to start, to get more experience, learn certain things along the way, and then slowly transition into other things I would feel more comfortable with. And, that includes purchasing a property. I need to learn all the ins and outs of that, analyzing the deals, rehabbing a property from afar, things like that. I wanted to learn with this and then slowly scale from there or change it to short-term rentals.
So what are the learning lessons? So you went ahead and you went through the process, and then what skills did you develop, and or when did you decide, hey, this might be a time to pivot now that I kind of got my feet wet? What's your thought process around that?
There was a lot of learning lessons after the first one. I'm not going to lie. The first one, you learn a lot. And I think, okay, so the first deal came about and I'm doing the numbers like 10 times. I'm probably 100 times. And I'm like, wow, the numbers work. The numbers work as a long-term renter. And I was just like, if you don't do this now, because the numbers work, everyone tells you, trust the numbers. You're never going to do it. So I think the first one is just jumping that first hurdle to trust myself and get over that, negative talk or self-doubt or something, or even just being scared. And that was a huge hurdle for me. I'm not going to lie. That was huge. But after getting over that, I was like, okay, like things happen. There was a lot of learning lessons from the first one, but let me try this. And then now I was like exploring different options. So I was more comfortable to jump into the next thing.
Oh, that's very great. That's very great. And, now trust your numbers is what's more important. All right, I'm a boss. I'm echoing. Are y'all hearing that?
Yeah, it's clear now.
Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. Ebath, edit this out. So, all right. All right. 1, 2, 3. Trusting the numbers are very important, right? It's funny because I was just at this 3-day event and I host the event. I also have an hour where I speak on real estate. And one of my slides is just that, is that you don't fall in love with the property. You fall in love with the numbers. And if the numbers work, then you buy the property, and you buy the property twice on Sundays, I like to tell people, right? So, all right, now you're, a dentist, I'm pretty sure loving your profession. And then, COVID hit and you realize that, wow, your income came to a stop and you wanted to jump into this real estate world. And, yeah, sorry guys, I'm so sorry. You want to jump into this real estate world and, you jump into long-term rentals. You jump into it really for some on the job experience, right? So you go ahead and now you're trusting the numbers. So what other things that you did and you learned during the way when it comes to financing, and what kind of property did you purchase for your very first property? Was it a turnkey? Was it a property needed the rehab? Just give us a little more information on it.
Yeah. So something that I learned after the fact that we bought it is that there are so many loan products out there. And I hate to say this, but I had no idea coming out. I thought you just had to do it the conventional way, get it as an investment property loan, and that's how you got to do it. And no one, I never, I guess, educated myself enough to know all the other products out there. But we bought a property, sight unseen, by the way, which is another big leap for us. Another thing is we don't own a primary home. So my husband is also in the medical industry, and we've been moving around because of his training, his residency and fellowship. And so we've been renting this whole time. So we have never bought a house before. We bought this single family home, sight unseen. But because of COVID, both of us had time off. He specifically had 2 weeks off when we closed. So we actually drove south, I don't even know, 8 hours away, and decided to try and rehab it ourselves in 2 weeks. So you can imagine all the stress, the arguments, all that stuff. Oh my goodness. It was.
You're still married, right?
We're still married. That was a very big test for our marriage, I will say. But it was, we flew. Both of his dad came out, my dad came out to help us. It was a fun. I don't want to say fun, but it was a good experience, and we know never to do that again.
Oh wow. That's pretty interesting. Okay, so you got a property that you purchased sight unseen, Obviously it needed some work, and you and your husband decided to make the decision to go do the work with the help of both of your parents, right? So
Yeah.
I guess what kind of financing did you get done on this property?
So we did the traditional, investment. Investment loan.
Okay. All right, cool. So
I
let's
think
just
with that, it would have been a different way. So knowing what I know now, with the all the other loan products that we could have done, I probably would have done it a completely different way. But it was a very good.
Well, share with us, Alex. Tell us what you would have done differently.
Oh, I would have done honestly a hard money loan and did a burr on this one. And I think I was too scared to jump into that right away because I've never bought a property before. So jumping into a hard money loan, that's a short-term loan, I was nervous about that. So, but if I were to go back, I would have done a hard money loan and then refinanced it after. So burr the property basically. Also, Omid.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, he'll be back in shortly. So you got this when you said what you would have done differently is you would have got a hard money loan and did a burr because I guess the deal allowed you to do that. The numbers allowed you to sit there and I guess you was going to up the value up on the property and be able to sit there. What you going to get 75 to 80% of the ATV.
Yeah.
And it kind of go from there. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, so let's back this story up a little bit. Let's find out just a little bit about your road. So I guess why dentistry? Like what was about being a dentist is something that you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, so dentistry, I think this is gonna sound a little corny probably, but a smile is the same, like it has the same effect anywhere you go in the whole world, right? Like it just means happiness. And to change someone's self-confidence through their smile and for them to smile more, it's something that I enjoy and really like. And I want to help someone be confident in themselves through their smile.
Awesome. I like my smile, right? So, I smile all the time. And, and it's funny that you say that, about building confidence is because, personally, I, a lot of people all my life always say, you have good teeth, right? And you have a good smile. But as I got older, there was things about my teeth that I did not enjoy. And I decided to invest in myself, right? I invested into Invisalign, right? To straighten out a couple things. Some people called me crazy because they thought that my teeth was fine. But every time I took a picture, the first thing I looked at was, let me see what my teeth look like.
Yep.
And what happened was I had to get over the fact that how I did it was I said, you know what? I feel as though I have $1 million smile today, and I'm gonna spend this money so I can have $100 million smile tomorrow. And that was what gave me the confidence that you sit here and you talk about, right? So, okay, so all right, so you wanted to change people's confidence with their smile, which I just gave you a story and let you know that happens with me. Right? So how, I guess, like what's the, I'm trying not to use the word, so I have to, I'm sorry. What's the mindset, right? Around you, because you and I and Omid, we all met at a event, right? We met at a short-term rental event. I guess, can you share just the mindset on why do you attend events and what do you look to get out of it?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, I didn't really have a lot of people that are around me that invested in real estate the way that I want to. And they sometimes don't see, the value in it, or they're like, oh, well, you could do this instead, or, oh, that's risky, interest rates are so high, or, the price is this and that. And so I really wanted to just surround myself with people that are uplifting, and they look at things so much differently, I think. And when you surround yourself with people that you aspire to be like, or you are encouraged by, that really just elevates you and pushes you to be better in whatever you're trying to do. And so that's really why I love going to the events. It's awesome. Like networking with these people who just have the same mindset. It's really uplifting.
All right, that's great. So before we move on, all right, we gotta take a shot. We like 3 shots in the hole. So we're just gonna sum it up with one. I hate to say it. We're like, I'm writing it down every time, and we supposed to took like 3 shots, but let's just take one full one that's gonna support. We said real estate twice, we said mindset once, right? So, all right, let's take a shot. Let's do it.
What?
Here we go.
Like the hardest words, I swear.
All right, audience.
I feel like I'm in college again, this is kind of fun because I'm taking videos like this.
All right, let us know when you're ready.
All right, go ahead. Cheers.
All right, cheers. Bottoms up, bottoms up.
Love it.
All right, back to the episode here. All right, so you said you wanted to surround yourself. You come to events to get in the room with like-minded people who's thinking like you. So you also mentioned that some of your friends are not into real estate. So I guess, what is it like with your friends? Are you able to talk to them about it? Are they open to it? Are they acting like they're open to it, but they're really not? I mean, come on, guys, let's be real, right? We got the good friends that just be there, that's listening, but they really don't want to talk about it. Tell us about that experience, about with your friends and you jumping into this real estate deal.
So I have different groups of friends. Like some of them are always like, oh, I've always wanted to do it, but it's just not the right time, or it's just not, they have something that like stops them from doing it, but they want to do it. And then I have the other ones who are like, oh, that's cool, but maybe it doesn't interest them. They're just like, okay, like cool. But then what's really funny is now that I started posting a little bit more on social media, they ask a lot of questions and they're like, wait, did this really happen? Oh, like, how did you find that? And like, oh, wait, I didn't know you can do this with your taxes and all that stuff with real estate. And so now I'm kind of, helping opening their mind on it maybe. And now they're more curious to hopefully like lead them to jump into it. But in the beginning, it was a little tough.
No, I've been following your content and it's very educational, but at the same time, it also, I think, opens people's eyes to what's possible. So I just love the idea of kind of sharing the journey as you kind of go along it and you're educating people along the way. And then it sparks interest. So people who originally were like, oh, I'm not really interested in this. But then they're like, wait a second. Wait, you mean I can do a cost segregation and I can save money on taxes and I can apply those losses to my, active income? So I think there's like a huge benefit where you're able to kind of bring people along this journey, which is great. So I guess a piece of advice. So for somebody who's hesitant, but also has maybe the one reason why they can't do it, what would you tell them?
I would say 1, surround yourself with people who do it. Honestly, I really think that is such a powerful and one of the top things that I would recommend anyone. You can study as much as you can. You can listen. It's great listening to the podcast, reading books, educating yourself. But when you actually surround yourself with those people who are actually doing it, I think it's going to be a whole world of a difference for you. So that's one piece of advice I would definitely give. I mean, something as small as just joining your real estate meetup locally. There's so many that you can do. And so just something small like that. And you'll get to network and find people that you can relate to. Maybe someone's in the same field of profession as you, and they're investing in real estate. And you guys, I met so many people at the one we went to. Oh, and they were in this, kind of same industry as me. I don't even know what I said to do that, honestly.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm on an empty stomach right now, so I'm feeling a little buzzed.
I hope you guys didn't take me out. because truthfully, we got 3 more. We said real estate 3 times. But we're gonna take one. All right.
Okay, we'll take a baby one, and then after this, it has to be 5 times that we say something in order to.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. We're gonna change the rules up. All right. Whenever y'all ready, bottoms up.
I guess next time
means he's here.
your easier words.
He's pouring right now. Just let everybody know. We'll be pouring right now.
So my son and daughter were celebrating their birthday this weekend, and I was planning on sharing this with a guest, but I might be done by the end of this episode where I might not have to buy another bottle. Cheers.
All right, cheers. So you mentioned, something that I think is very important. And, you mentioned that, getting educated is great. Getting educated is fantastic. Getting educated is awesome. But education without implementation, means very little, right? I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just going to say it means very little, because it's the action behind the education that really moves you along, right? It's great that you could be a wealth of knowledge, and that's awesome. And it's also great because that's why I say it's very little, because you can use that at any given time, but once again, education without implementation, is great. So I do like that, you mentioned the being around like-minded people, and that's how we're here. We all met, at a conference, all there for the same reason, to network, as well as to get around like-minded people. So let's shift gears a little bit, and let's talk a little bit about, some of the things that got you here that surrounds, the word mindset, right? Are there any books that you suggest? Are there any people that you follow that kind of help you on this journey to believe that you can execute in, doing a real estate?
Yeah, I think one of a great book that I really, really enjoyed that got me really thinking is Vivid Vision. And the reason I really, really like that book is because it really made me sit down and think about how I want my life to be in the future. From waking up in the morning, like, what do I want to be doing in the morning? And it's very detailed, and it makes you, write down every detail of your day in the future and how you want it to be. And so that I think that book really, really helped me narrow down why I'm doing what I'm doing and where I want to get to in the future.
So I want you to kind of paint that picture for us, because I think a lot of people don't even necessarily think about that in those sort of terms, as far as what they may not even know what they're doing today or tomorrow or this weekend. So paint that picture as far as for somebody who's maybe interested or wants to look into that. Like, what does that look like even for you specifically?
Yeah, and I can get very specific on this. So, so my long-term goals, I guess a day in my life, I would be like, I wake up, I'm able to have breakfast with my kids, take my kids to school. Then I'm able to either, if I'm, I own my own office, my own dental studios, and I'm able to go in and do the treatment that I want to do, the big life-changing cosmetic treatment. I only have to see 1 or 2 patients a day because they're very long, extensive procedures. But after I'm done with those patients, I get to go home, pick up my kids from school, attend their after-school activities, have dinner, with my family, and enjoy time with my family. Because I think time is the best thing, the most important thing that you can get. It's not necessarily money. I think it's time with who you want to spend your time with and who is the most important to you. And I've also watched documentaries of, the people who are like 100 years old, and they ask, what's something you reflect on, or something you wish you could change. And none of them are like, I wish I worked more and got more money. No one has ever said that. They basically say, I wish I had more time to with my grandkids, with my kids, with, traveling the world, things like that. So that's my vision.
I hear
It's
it.
more
That's
detailed
great.
than
And
that,
that's all good. I hope so, right?
yeah.
But no, I love that, right? Basically, talking things into existence. And, I'm working with my son on that. And how I'm doing that is he plays sports, he plays football. So when we're on our way to the games, I sit here and say, tell me what you're going to do today. He said, Dad, I'm going to have 2 touchdowns, Dad. I'm going to have 3 interceptions. I'm going to pull 7 flags, because right now we in flag football. And what I'm doing is I'm working on him visualizing, his day and what he wants his life to be like just through this sport. And if he understands that habit, then that habit can be applied as he grow older and be a little more mature on visualizing his days when he want to go and date a girl, or he want to go and open up a company, or he want to go on a prom, or whatever the things that he wants to do, to have that confidence and see himself doing it. So I did not read the Vivid Vision book, but it sounds like something that I'm personally interested in, and I'll make sure that I pick it up. So let's talk about this time. So, a lot of people, tend to do the, real estate thing, or do the entrepreneur thing because money driven, and as they get into it, they realize that, it's the time. So for you, I guess, and you are a visionary, what do you see your future as look like, when you sit here and you gain all this time back, with you building up your real estate empire?
Yeah. So I have a big aspirations, just to put it out there. I have big aspirations for real estate as well as dentistry. And because I obviously, like we talked about, got into dentistry for a reason. And, my future and what I want is to build, a really healthy real estate portfolio to help me not feel so pressured in dentistry, and be able to own my dental office, but not, I'm not going to be working 6 days a week. So I can't spend time with, my future family and kids and stuff. So I'm really trying to help ease that burden, because with dentistry comes large student loans as well. And so I don't want to feel pressured to do things I don't want to do just because of money. And so if I have the real estate thing as well, it'll help, balance everything. And now I get to focus on time with who I want to spend time with, and not feel burnt out.
I think that's powerful. No, I think that's very powerful when you think about priorities as time evolves. It's, first you want to make the money, then then it's then you want to make some time and create time so you can have the memories with like, whoever it is that you want to spend time with. And I think about your story. So most people during COVID, what do? They, binge watch TV, or they're hanging out, like, within their circle, and you're studying, like you're a student. And even just hearing your story, as far as you did a lot of underwriting. So you're to me, and you had, you overcame a lot of these challenges when it came to, deciding to make that first step. I get the sense that you're very conservative in like your approach, but you overcame those things. So I just love hearing that story of you kind of making that first step. So for listeners, let's say somebody in the healthcare field, and let's say they want to jump into real estate, like what piece of advice would you give them? Because I feel like sometimes people get burnt out, where they're so tired from running their own business, they don't want to do anything else outside of, and then they have parenting, they don't have time. So you did, a really great job with time blocking. So what advice would you give somebody even within the healthcare field?
Yeah, I think, and that's another reason, like you kind of touched on that. That's another reason why I really wanted to heavily invest in real estate, is because I see these healthcare professionals, and they're so burnt out, and they're so they're just burnt out. They work long hours. They're caring for their patients. Sometimes the quality of the care goes down because they're so burnt out. They're not the same when they go home. And I didn't want to be like that. And I don't, I want to be able to, when I go to treat my patients, focus on my patients 100% and not feel tired, burnt out, and be like, oh no, it's another day. Like, oh no, it's another day doing this. And have the same, and, be able to have the energy going home, seeing my family and stuff. But an advice I would give is if you feel like you don't have the time, or if you make time for things that are important to you, is what I've learned. And whether that's, and you can do something an hour a day, like as simple as listening to a podcast, driving to work. You can do something as simple as, hey, I'm going to wake up like a little bit earlier and just read 30 minutes of a book or something. And there's also things that you, like, just because you're investing in real estate doesn't mean you have to be hands-on too. There are other avenues you can take that are very, very passive, but yet you're still getting the benefits of investing in real estate. So there's many things you can do.
That's great. So, quick question for you. We noticed that on social media, you're revving up, right? And just like Omid mentioned earlier, you're educating, your videos are awesome, right? Like, why? Why not just focus your time on obviously building up better smiles, right? And also building your real estate empire. Like, why are you, coming out on social media and starting to put out more educational content?
Well, two things, I guess. One is just to help educate people, because now that I've spoke to so many of you at the conferences and stuff, and they're like, why aren't you telling people about this? If your friends don't know that you're doing all these things, why aren't you telling them? Like, oh, I don't know. I never really had a reason. And they were very encouraging and saying, the more that you put out there, the more you'll actually kind of receive back from these people, like positive feedback, questions, curiosity from people. And people want to know why you're doing that, like the little details, like just things that you've gone through in real estate, and learn from you because they know you, they can relate to you. And I got a lot of that from some of the conferences I've been to, a lot of encouragement to do that. And the second thing is I've also learned that partnerships can stem from, just posting what you're doing. And so me knowing what I want to do in the future and knowing that, partnerships are very powerful, I started posting more to help with that as well.
I love the partnership piece. I think for me, partnerships has always been a way to, one, get my time back, two, really spend time in areas where you either enjoy or you're really good at, and it allows you kind of test things without by reducing your risk, right? So I think that's a great approach. So speaking on partnerships, how would you leverage partnerships and or recommend others who are just getting started?
Yeah. Well, I guess being in the healthcare industry, I know a lot of people who have maybe the capital to, but they have no time. And, maybe they're focusing on just that, and they don't want to be hands-on and do other things with real estate. So I can definitely help. My goal is to help those people who just don't have the time, where I can, use those resources, and it'll kind of be a win-win for both partners.
That's super smart. And I don't want to just glaze over that. I want to make sure people understand that, because, everybody sit here and say, hey, I want to jump into, buying these properties, right? I got away from saying real estate. Oh. I try to be cool and I just messed that one all up. But what's super smart is that, you went out and you are in the industry, right, where, everyone is, professionals in dentistry. and you went out and to invest to real estate, which a lot of people want to do but don't have the time. And you're going to now be able to sit here and partner, with a lot of people that's in your industry. And for the listeners, I just want you to know you can do the same. Everybody always look and say, oh, where can I find my partners? Well, guess what? Won't you go out and do it? And then all the individuals that's in your niche of your W-2 are all the individuals that you can bring back, to partnership. Now, to date, have you have any partnerships yet, or are you just revving up to get to that point?
Yeah. So I have one partnership that we did last year, and it was great. It was she was the capital partner for a short-term rental. I did everything from the I manage it today. So we did all the setup, all the automation, set everything, and I run it daily. And she gets a benefit of percentage of the cash flow when we decide to sell, whenever that is. We divide the profit or the equity 50-50. So I did do a partnership already, and it was so powerful and so awesome that I want to continue to do that. And the capital partner saw so much benefit in it too, So that's another thing, is sometimes people don't see why is that beneficial. How is that beneficial for both parties? And they loved it because they didn't have to do anything at all, and they're still getting a return on their money. So yeah.
Can I just ask a quick question to that? Do you mind sharing the structure of the partnership on how you guys, divide that up? You don't mind?
Yeah. So the partner provided 100% of the capital for the down payment, closing costs, anything we needed for the property in terms of furnishing. We had to add a pool heater, things like that. And they were more into a little bit more cash flow per month. So we did a 60% for them, cash flow, 40% for me. And then when we sell the property, they were okay with splitting it 50-50. So after we give all the money back, whatever they put in, the capital or payment recapture or whatever it's called, then we split the rest of it 50-50. So they were just more interested in a little bit more cash flow.
Awesome. No, I love that. And when I think about transactions, I always kind of share this with people, that there's three things you need. You need the money, you need the time, and you need the experience. So you can wear the hat, and I've worn the hats for each one of those. So at one point I was a money, at one point I was a time, at one point now I'm kind of more the experience. And I think, this is great for the listeners, because I think this is a great takeaway, is think about where you are, where do you fit, and where can you bring value to somebody else and problem solve. And I think, Alex is in a great position. I mean, your network is, being in the healthcare professionals, they're not going to have the time. They're likely going to have their money, and they're probably not going to have the experience. So you bring the experience, and then, they bring the money, and you put it together and you make it happen. So I think that's awesome. So that's really powerful for somebody who's in the audience to really think about just all the ways. Oh, are we taking a shot or something? But I think it's super powerful, and it's a great way to scale and kind of build your portfolio. And especially, I think people underestimate the amount of time it takes to build that experience, and the knowledge. So, super happy for that. So do you want to take a shot, Lenny, or what's going on? I'm feeling a little buzzed to be.
We're five.
I got to do like a baby one. All right.
Yeah, we said mindset in healthcare 4 times.
I said it.
No, just in general. Oh, I think Alex said it a couple times.
Oh, got it. Gotcha.
Yeah,
man. I think this. I might be TKO'd pretty soon.
All right, Alex. Where's your? Okay, listeners, everybody's pulling their shot right now. Everybody got their shot. All right, so I think we're gonna take it down. All right, bombs up, okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow.
So Alex, I feel like you've gotten a lot of benefit from going to these in-person events, whether it's like local real estate meetups. You talked about like being able to relate to people or find somebody that you can relate to who's kind of in a similar position where maybe they're starting off at the same time, or you bring a certain value. So what is the frequency? Like somebody wants to get started. where should they get started, and at what point should they do a conference, just to kind of get their feet wet?
I think right away. I think honestly, if you're interested in something, whether that's long-term rentals, short-term rentals, syndications, there's free meetups near you somewhere. And if you just find those, those meetups and you don't have to go to like the big ones that you have to travel to right away. Go somewhere locally, meet people in your area, and network and talk to them. Because once you do that, and then you learn a little bit more from them, then you can, find these other conferences that you might be interested in, and decide to go to that. And I just think networking and surrounding yourself is so important. But start small. If you're scared, if you're an introvert, something smaller might be better for you.
Awesome. And if I could add to that, virtually, right? Like now we have this thing they call the internet, and there's so many a lot of people might not heard of it, something called the internet, and there's so many meetups that's going on online now, right? Like people are having where you could touch people, hey, look, I believe that when I met Omid, the way that one of the ways we kept our relationship going is that he hosted a monthly meetup online, right? So that was a way where I was able to communicate with him, at least at minimum once a month, online. And that is a great start, right? Because, a lot of people in the real estate space says the most important thing is location, 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 right? They say that's number one. I actually put that at number two. I say the most important thing in real estate are people, people, and people, right? Because, once you get to sit here networking with individuals, the individuals will actually tell you where they investing, which is location, on where to invest, right? I mean, that's one of the ways that kind of all of us pivoted over to short-term rentals, because we had a friend that, decided that he was going to pivot to short-term rentals. He gave us the location, and then we decided to go ahead and invest in that location as well in doing awesome. All right. So, let's talk about, let's get back to mindset, right? Because, one of the things that I did hear you say is that, hey, you were, watching podcasts, you was reading books, you were analyzing deals, all that is great, but some people still come to a stop. They never sit there and actually put in that offer. Like, what made you say, I'm putting in the offer? Like, did you have a mentor that helped you push you along? Was it your husband? Was it a friend that said, girl, go ahead and jump off the boat and do the thing? Like, what was it that made you say, I'm going to put in the offer?
So it's kind of funny because a lot of people around me actually told me not to do it because it was not in the area we lived in. I've never bought a property before. And so they were just like, you have to think about what you're doing, really sit down and think about it. But I did the numbers, honestly, like 100 times. And I think I just believed in myself, like, hey, if you don't do this, the numbers are telling you it's there. The location is there, like everything is right there. And if you don't do this now, when everything is saying check mark, yes, 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 you're never going to do it. Like, when are you going to do it if right now you're not going to do it and it's all there? And my husband was super supportive. So he was like, he wasn't like reading and listening to the podcast like I was, but he was like, I know you've been working really hard on this and I trust you. So, let's do it if you really believe in this one. So I just told myself, taking action is probably the most important thing. Oh, and another thing I can add to that really quick, a little analogy. I gave this to my friend the other day because her husband has analysis paralysis. I said, if you think about athletes, think about like LeBron James and like Patrick Mahomes and stuff. They can study the competition. They can have the best coach in the world. They can have the best team in the world. But unless they're actually out on the court playing, they're never going to have anything to show for it. They're never going to actually keep getting better and better at whatever they're doing. And so I just think about that in different aspects of life. Like, unless you're actually doing it yourself, there's some things that are going to come along the way that you didn't foresee that you have to learn and, get over and overcome. And you don't get that unless you actually do it.
So it looks like you're a big proponent about taking action, which I'm a fan of. And so since COVID, what does the portfolio look like? Like, how has it transitioned, and kind of where are you now, and what do you envision?
Yeah. So since COVID, we bought four properties. We put a deposit down, one that's being built. So that one's still like in the works. So 4.5, I guess you could say. And right now we're actually analyzing more properties because we have 2 partners that are interested. And so we actually went to go look at properties yesterday. We had our agent in another state go look at some properties. And I've had meetings yesterday and today with those partners, and we are ready to go. Just got to find the property. So that will be my job. So I'm heavily looking into that, hoping to get multiple this year with partnerships. They're partnerships.
Oh, that's great. Now, are you looking into short-term rentals, long-term rentals?
Short term.
Mm-hmm.
Short term. Yep.
All right. I think that this is another shot moment. What y'all think?
What?
No, I just figured I'd say that to see if you guys was on guard.
We're like, oh my God.
I think I'm tapped out. My eyes are getting like a little bit small, and that's usually a sign. I'm like, it's starting to hit.
Yeah.
Listen, for the listeners, we're probably about, I kind of stopped counting. I don't know if we're 4 or 5 shots in, but I think that we're at our limit of shots. And I think that we're probably closing the shot pool down.
Yeah.
But question for you. So what does find your freedom mean to you?
Finding your freedom means that you have all the time in the world to do what you want. Sorry, you have all the resources. So what time, income, money coming in however you want. To do what you want to do with who you want to do it with, whenever you want to do it. And so you're not bound to anything or have any restrictions. That would be what finding your freedom means to me.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think it's, at the end of the day, it's just kind of enjoying your time as you see fit. So, Alex, I feel like you're inspiring a lot of people, whether it's in the healthcare profession or just in general. So how can people connect with you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. It's @_Alexandra Burnham, BURNHAM, or on Facebook too, Alexandra Burnham.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to end the show, right? I was going to say let's end the show with another shot, but I think we're probably all done right now. So we're going to end the show with the biggest boom as possible. So the objective here is to bust some speakers and to rupture some eardrums, right? So how we're going to do it is I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and then in a uniform manner, we're going to scream as loud as we can. All right, we got it?
Got it.
All right, listeners, I hope you're ready. All right.
Do it.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Listen, we just had an amazing first tequila episode with Alex, and sponsored by Alex, because she's the reason why, we had this episode, but however, you really want to check it out because she's changing smiles one day at a time. And that's something that's really special. And the reason behind it is to build confidence in yourself so you can go out and be who you want to be. If that's investing in real estate, if that's becoming a dentist, if that's opening up your own business and being an entrepreneur, it all starts with that smile that equals confidence, that equals action taking. All right. So please tune in to this episode. Now, you know that we always have to help you out and give you something that's going to sit here and move you along. So we created a Freedom Kit. It's easily downloadable and it's free. All you have to do is go to www.findyourfreedomrei.com/freedom kit. That's right. www.findyourfreedomrei.com/freedom kit. Now, if you want to hear more and more episodes like this and bring more tequila episodes to you, we need you to sit here, listen, and leave an honest 5-star review. We also need you to subscribe. We also need you to share. So share this with your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, all your friends, everybody that you love at work, and share it with the people that you don't like too. Hey, just take the link and just email it to everybody that's in your contacts, right? Until the next episode of Find Your Freedom, we talk to you soon. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Find Your Freedom. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. While you're at it, please help us spread the word by leaving a rating and review and sharing the podcast with friends, family, and colleagues. Until next time, get out there and find your freedom.